Captain Jack Anderson stood tall as he looked through the main window of his ship. The stars shone brightly against the black of space. This was a big day for all humans. Today, they would show their first real warship to the aliens of the Galactic Council. "Captain, we are ready to dock at the Council station," said Lisa, the pilot. Her hands moved quickly over the controls. Jack nodded. "Take us in slow. Let them get a good look at her." The UES Persistence glided toward the massive space station. Next to the huge alien ships already docked there, the human vessel looked small and plain. Its smooth, dark hull didn't have the sharp points and glowing weapons that marked the warships of other races. The radio crackled. "Human vessel Persistence, proceed to docking bay 12. Follow the guide lights." "Acknowledged," Lisa replied. She guided the ship carefully along the path of blue lights. Inside the ship, the crew worked at their stations. They all wore the dark blue uniforms of Earth's United Space Force. Each had trained for years for this moment. They were the best Earth had to offer. "How do you think they'll react?" asked Tom Lee, the weapons officer. He was young but brilliant, with short black hair and steady hands. "They'll laugh," said Maria Rice, the chief engineer. Her voice was calm as she checked the ship's systems. Let them laugh. Jack knew she was right. The aliens would see only what they wanted to see, a small, weak ship from a young race that barely knew how to travel between their own planets. They wouldn't understand what the Persistence really was. The ship docked with a gentle thud. Jack straightened his uniform and looked at his crew. "Remember your training. Be polite. And no matter what they say, don't correct them." The crew nodded. They had been briefed many times on how to act around the Council races. Earth needed this alliance, even if the terms weren't fair. The Great Hall of the Galactic Council Station was filled with beings from 20 different worlds. Some looked almost human, with 2 arms and legs. Others floated in tanks of liquid or moved on many legs. All turned to watch as the human delegation entered. Jack led his team: Maria, Tom, Lisa, and 5 other key crew members. They walked in step, backs straight, faces calm. At the center of the hall stood Admiral Krell of the Vorn. The Vorn were the strongest military force in the Council. They stood 7 feet tall, with thick gray skin and 4 eyes set in a wide face. Krell wore armor covered in symbols of his victories. "Welcome, humans," he said. His voice was deep and rough, like stones being crushed. "We are eager to see this warship you have brought us." Jack bowed slightly. "Thank you, Admiral. We are honored to present the UES Persistence, Earth's first deep space combat vessel." Krell smiled, showing teeth like small daggers. "Yes, we saw it as you approached. Quite interesting." The large screen behind him lit up, showing the Persistence next to a Vorn destroyer. The size difference was striking. The human ship was barely 1/5 the size of the Vorn vessel. "As you can see," Krell continued, "your ship would fit nicely in our launch bay." This brought loud laughs from many in the crowd. Jack kept his face neutral. "Size isn't everything, Admiral." "No. Then perhaps you can tell us about your weapon systems, your shield capacity, your battle speed." Krell's 4 eyes blinked one after another, a sign of amusement among his kind. Maria stepped forward. "The Persistence uses our newest engine design. It can reach speeds that wouldn't outrun our slowest cargo ships," finished a thin alien with blue skin. "We've studied your technology, Engineer Reyes. It's very cute." More laughter filled the hall. Jack saw his crew tense, but remained silent. "And these are your weapons?" asked another council member, pointing to the small ports visible on the ship's hull. Tom nodded. "Yes. Energy-based, designed for precision. Energy weapons that would barely damage our hull plating," Krell said. He turned to address the whole council. "Our newest allies bring us a toy boat and call it a warship." The laughter grew louder. Some pointed at the screen, making jokes in their own languages that the translators didn't catch. Jack stepped forward. "Admiral, the Persistence may not match your ships in size, But nothing, Captain Anderson, Krell interrupted. You humans have courage. I'll grant you that. Coming here, showing us this child's model. But courage without strength is just foolishness. The Admiral walked closer to Jack, looking down at him. The galaxy is dangerous, Captain. There are threats you cannot imagine. If Earth wishes to survive, you would do well to let more experienced races handle your protection. Jack met his gaze. We prefer to handle our own defense, Admiral. Of course you do. Until the first real battle. Krell waved his hand dismissively. But we welcome you to the Council nonetheless. Everyone must start somewhere, even if that start is humble. The meeting continued with talks about trade agreements and Council laws. The human ship was mentioned several more times, always as a joke, always bringing more laughs. Later, as the crew returned to their ship, Tom finally let his anger show. They treated us like children, like we know nothing about space or war. Lisa nodded. Did you see how they looked at our control systems? Like we were playing with toys. Jack let them vent as they walked through the docking tube back to the Persistence. When the airlock closed behind them, he spoke. They saw exactly what we wanted them to see. Maria smiled for the first time since they'd arrived. The outer hull readings show they scanned us at least 12 times. Their sensors found nothing unusual. All systems registered as basic and outdated. Tom added, his anger changing to pride. The cloaking technology worked perfectly. Jack looked around at his crew. This is what Earth needs. Let them think we're weak. Let them underestimate us. It's the oldest trick in warfare. Look harmless until it's time not to be. The crew gathered in the ship's command center. Jack pressed his hand to a hidden panel, and a screen appeared that hadn't been visible before. Lucy, show us what the Council's sensors missed. A soft female voice responded from the ship's speakers. Of course, Captain. The screen filled with images of systems hidden deep within the Persistence, weapons more advanced than anything the Council races had, engines capable of maneuvers they thought impossible, and defensive systems that could absorb and redirect energy. They laughed at our ship today, Jack said. Let them laugh. But remember what Defense Director Wright told us before we left Earth. The best weapon is the one your enemy doesn't know exists until it's too late. As the Persistence prepared to leave the Council station, Admiral Krell's voice came over the comm system. Safe travels, human vessel. Try not to get lost on your way home. Jack smiled as he replied. Thank you for your concern, Admiral. I'm sure we'll meet again soon. He didn't add what he was thinking. And next time, you won't be laughing. The Persistence made its way back to Earth in silence. Most of the crew felt angry about how the aliens had laughed at them. But Captain Jack Anderson knew better. He had seen wars before. Sometimes, being thought weak was the best weapon. 3 days after they returned, the crew was called to a meeting at Space Command Headquarters. The building stood tall in the middle of New Washington, its glass walls shining in the morning sun. Inside a large room, with no windows, Defense Director Alan Wright waited for them. He was an older man with gray hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. On the wall behind him, screens showed pictures of alien ships moving through space. Welcome back, Wright said as Jack and his senior crew members took their seats. I've read your report about the Council meeting. They laughed at us, sir, Tom said, still angry about it. Wright smiled. Good. That's exactly what we wanted. Maria leaned forward. The cloaking systems worked perfectly. Their scans showed nothing but basic technology. And now we have this. Wright pointed to the screen, which showed messages from the Council. The Vorn think we're harmless. They've started moving their ships closer to our outer colonies, especially Titan's moon. Jack studied the screen. They're planning something. Yes, our spies tell us they want to take Titan's moon. It has minerals they need. Wright's face turned serious. The Council won't help us. They say we should pay the Vorn for protection instead. Protection from the Vorn themselves. Lisa said with a laugh. That's some trick. Wright nodded. The Vorn have done this before. They threaten a new council member, offer protection for a high price, and slowly take over their worlds. By the time anyone realizes what's happening, it's too late. So what do we do? Jack asked, though he already knew the answer. We send the Persistence to Titan's moon. Alone. The room grew quiet. Everyone looked at each other. Just one ship? Tom finally asked. Against how many Vorn ships? At least 10, maybe more, Wright replied. He pressed a button, and a new image appeared on the screen. It showed the Persistence, but with parts of it highlighted in different colors. But now it's time for all of you to learn what your ship can really do. 2 hours later, the crew walked through the Persistence in a different way than before. Hidden doors opened to show rooms they hadn't known existed. Secret panels revealed weapons they hadn't been trained to use. In the engine room, Maria stared at a glowing blue core that hadn't been there when they'd left for the council meeting. This was installed while we were gone, she said, touching the control panel. This isn't just a normal space engine. This is. I've only seen plans for this. It can fold space. Fold space. Lisa asked, You mean jump without using the jump gates? That's impossible. Not impossible, said Wright, who had joined them on the ship. Just very hard to do. The Vorn think it can't be done inside a planet's gravity field. They're wrong. In the weapons room, Tom was like a child with new toys. He moved from one station to another, his eyes wide. These aren't just energy cannons, he said. These are quantum disruptors. They don't destroy ships. They disable them. Wright nodded. Earth doesn't want to kill if we don't have to. We want to disable enemy ships and keep their crews alive. Jack stood in the middle of the command center, looking at systems he'd never seen before. Why didn't we know about all this? Security, Wright said simply. The fewer people who knew, the less chance the council would find out. Even your crew only knew about the parts they worked with. A soft voice spoke from the walls. Hello, Captain Anderson. I'm Lucy. Jack looked around. Who's that? I am the Persistence's artificial intelligence, Lucy replied. I've been watching and learning since the ship was built, but I was told to stay hidden until now. Wright smiled at Jack's surprise. Lucy is the most advanced AI we've ever built. The aliens fear artificial intelligence. They think it will turn against them. But we've worked with AIs for 100 years. Lucy runs all the ship's special systems. And I've been studying the Vorn, Lucy said. I know their tactics, their weapon systems, and their weaknesses. Jack walked slowly around the command center, touching the new controls, looking at screens that showed the ship's true power. The Persistence wasn't just a warship. It was a completely new kind of ship, built with technology the aliens didn't know humans had. The hull, Maria said, joining them. It's adaptive, isn't it? It can change. Wright nodded. It absorbs energy weapons and uses their power to make itself stronger. The more they shoot at you, the stronger you get. And the fold drives, Lisa added, excitement in her voice. We can jump anywhere, anytime. We don't need the jump gates like other ships. Right again, Wright said. You can appear and disappear faster than their sensors can track you. Tom joined them, still looking at a small device in his hand. And this quantum disruptor, it can shut down their ships without hurting the crews. Yes, it affects their power systems, not their life support. Wright confirmed. One shot can disable a ship twice our size. Jack looked at his crew, then back at Wright. So you want us to go to Titan's moon alone, face a Vorn attack force, and what? Scare them off? Wright's face grew serious. I want you to show them exactly what humans can do. I want you to defeat their fleet so completely that the Council can't ignore it. I want you to change everything. The crew looked at each other. This wasn't what they had expected when they joined Earth's Space Force. They had thought they would be explorers, diplomats with guns they hoped never to use. Now they were being asked to face the most powerful military force in the galaxy. "When do we leave?" Jack asked. "Tomorrow," Wright said. "The colony on Titan's moon has 3,000 people. Families, children. The Vorn will attack within the week." As Wright left, the crew stayed in the command center, quiet, thinking about what they had learned. "Lucy," Jack finally said, "show us everything you know about the Vorn ships. We need to be ready." "Yes, Captain," the eye replied. "Shall I also show you the special systems we've never used in combat before?" "All of them," Jack said. "It's time we stopped pretending to be weak." As the screens filled with information, Jack looked at his crew. They were no longer angry about the council meeting. Now they understood. The aliens had laughed at their ship, thinking humans were no threat. Soon, they would learn how wrong they were. The journey to Titan's moon took 3 days. The crew of the Persistence spent every hour learning about their ship's true abilities. Sleep came in short breaks between training sessions. No one complained. They all knew what was waiting for them. "Lucy, show me the Vorn fleet positions again," Jack said as he sat in the captain's chair. The main screen lit up with a map of the space around Titan's moon. 12 Vorn ships detected, Lucy replied. Her voice was calm, almost friendly. "They are moving into attack formation, but staying hidden behind the larger moon." Emma Johnson, the science officer, studied the screen. She was tall with short brown hair and eyes that noticed everything. "They think we don't know they're there. They want to surprise us." "Let's let them think that," Jack said. "Keep our systems in stealth mode, Lucy. Don't let them see what we really are." "Yes, Captain." "Stealth systems active. To their sensors, we look like a basic human ship with minimal weapons." The crew worked quietly at their stations. The closer they got to Titan's moon, the more tense they became. None of them had been in real combat before. The weapons were new. The tactics were untested. "What if it doesn't work?" Tom asked quietly as he and Jack checked the weapon systems one last time. "It will work," Jack replied. "The hull will absorb their first attack. Then we show them what we can do. And if it doesn't," Tom pressed. Jack looked him in the eye. "Then we fight until we can't fight anymore. Those are our people on that moon. We don't leave them." Tom nodded, his doubt gone. "We don't leave them," he repeated. Titan's moon hung in space like a small gray ball. The human colony was on the side facing Titan, a collection of domes and towers where 3,000 people lived. They mined the moon for minerals that Earth needed. Colony in visual range, Lisa reported from the pilot's seat. "No sign of the Vorn yet." "They're waiting for us to get closer," Jack said. "They want us in the open, away from the moon's surface." He was right. As soon as the Persistence moved into orbit around the moon, 12 Vorn ships appeared from behind Titan. They were huge, with sharp points and glowing weapons along their sides. Each one was at least 5 times bigger than the human ship. "Incoming transmission," Lucy announced. "Put it on screen," Jack ordered. The face of a Vorn commander filled the main screen. He had the typical gray skin and 4 eyes of his race, but with red marks painted across his face, signs of his rank. "Human vessel," he said, his voice deep and mocking. "I am Captain Draz of the Vorn Defense Fleet. You have entered a restricted area." Jack kept his face neutral. "This is Captain Anderson of the UES Persistence. Titan's moon is a human colony recognized by the Galactic Council. There are no restrictions here." Draz laughed, a harsh sound like breaking metal. "The Council has authorized us to secure this region. Your colony has resources we need. You have 1 hour to begin evacuation before we take control." "We need more time," Jack said, letting his voice shake a little. "There are 3,000 people down there, women and children. 1 pathetic human ship," Draz said with a sneer. "Your leaders must truly hate this colony to send only you to defend it." He turned away from the screen, speaking to someone they couldn't see. "The humans send a single ship and then beg. Prepare to fire. Let's make this quick." The screen went dark. "They're charging weapons," Emma reported, looking at her console. All 12 ships. Jack straightened in his chair. Lucy, is the hull ready? Yes, Captain. Adaptive systems at full capacity. Energy absorption fields active. Tom, are the quantum disruptors ready? Tom nodded, his fingers moving over his controls. Ready, Captain. Targeting systems locked on all 12 Vorn ships. Lisa, prepare jump sequence Alpha. Wait for my mark. Jump sequence Alpha ready, Lisa confirmed. Jack looked around at his crew. They were scared but ready. They had trained for this moment even if they hadn't known it. Remember, he said, they think we're weak. They'll fire everything they have in the first attack. That's when we show them who we really are. The Vorn didn't wait the full hour. Less than 10 minutes after the call ended, they opened fire. Bright beams of energy shot from all 12 ships, converging on the Persistence. Impact in 3 seconds, Emma called out. Jack gripped the arms of his chair. Brace for absorption. The energy beams hit the Persistence all at once. The ship shook violently. Alarms sounded. For a moment, it seemed like the hull might not hold. Then, as the energy waves passed through the ship, the adaptive hull began to glow. It changed from dark gray to bright blue as it absorbed the attack. Hull integrity at 98%, Lucy reported. Attack absorbed. Capacitors at full charge. Tom looked up from his console, a wide smile on his face. Captain, their attack just loaded our weapons for us. We're at full power. On the screen, they could see the Vorn ships moving closer, expecting to find the Persistence crippled or destroyed. Jack smiled for the first time since they'd left Earth. Lucy, execute Combat Protocol Alpha. Executing Combat Protocol Alpha, the AI confirmed. The Persistence suddenly vanished from where it had been, the space-folding drive bending reality around it. A heartbeat later, it reappeared directly behind the Vorn flagship. Fire disruptors, Jack ordered. Target their weapon systems only. Tom pressed the firing control. A beam of bright white energy shot from the Persistence, slicing through the Vorn flagship's weapons array with surgical precision. The massive alien ship's guns went dark immediately. On the comm system, they could hear Captain Draz shouting in confusion. What happened? Where did they go? How did they get behind us? Before the Vorn could turn their ships, Lisa activated the jump drive again. The Persistence vanished and reappeared next to another Vorn ship. Another perfect shot from Tom disabled its engines. Jump after jump, shot after shot, the human ship danced around the Vorn fleet. Each time they appeared, they took out a critical system on another enemy vessel. The Vorn fired wildly, trying to hit a target that never stayed in one place long enough. 4 Vorn ships moving to surround us. Emma warned as they finished disabling a 5th ship. Jack nodded. They're learning. Time to end this. Maria, prepare the quantum disruptor for wide-field deployment. Maria's fingers flew over her engineering console. Quantum disruptor ready, Captain. Wide-field mode engage. All crew, brace for energy pulse, Jack ordered. Lisa, position us at the center of their formation. The Persistence jumped one more time, appearing in the middle of the Vorn ships that were trying to trap it. Now, Maria. Maria pressed the activation control. A wave of invisible energy pulsed outward from the Persistence in all directions. As it passed through each Vorn ship, their lights flickered and died. Engines stopped. Weapons systems failed. Within seconds, all 12 Vorn ships floated dead in space. Quantum fields disrupted on all targets, Lucy confirmed. Their power systems are offline. Life support is functioning on backup power only. Jack stood up from his chair, looking at the stunned faces of his crew. Open a channel to Captain Draz, he ordered. The Vorn captain's face appeared on screen again, but this time there was no mockery in his 4 eyes. Only shock. This is Captain Anderson of the UES Persistence, Jack said, his voice strong and clear. Your fleet has been neutralized. Your weapons and engines are disabled. If you attempt to restore them, we will take more permanent measures. Do you understand? Thraz stared in disbelief. How? You have only one ship. Jack smiled. Sometimes, Captain Draz, one is all you need. A stunned silence filled the bridge of the Persistence. The crew looked at the screens showing 12 Vorn warships floating helplessly in space. Ships that had, minutes ago, been ready to attack a human colony. Ships that had believed they faced an easy victory against a single, small human vessel. Did we really just do that? Tom asked, breaking the silence. His hands were still on the weapons controls, ready to fire again if needed. We did, Jack said, his voice calm but filled with pride. All systems check. Hull integrity at 95%, Maria reported from her station. The adaptive systems worked better than expected. We absorbed most of their energy attacks. Jump drive at 72%, Lisa added. We can make 4 more jumps before it needs to cool down. Weapons at 68%, Tom said. The quantum disruptor used more power than we thought it would. Jack nodded, taking in all the information. Lucy, what's the status of the Vorn ships? All 12 vessels are disabled, the eye replied. Their main power systems are offline. They are operating on emergency power only. Life support is functioning. No casualties detected. Emma looked up from her science station. Captain, I'm detecting communications between the Vorn ships. They're using emergency channels. Put it on speaker, Jack ordered. The voices of Vorn officers filled the bridge, speaking quickly in their harsh language. Lucy translated for the crew. How did they do this? One human ship disabled our entire fleet. What kind of weapons do they have? The elders said humans were primitive. And then Captain Draz's voice, angrier than the others. Send a distress call to the council. Tell them we need immediate assistance. The humans have technology we've never seen before. Jack smiled. Cut the feed, Lucy. Open a direct channel to Captain Draz. Draz's face appeared on the main screen. The red markings on his gray skin seemed less intimidating now. Captain Anderson, Draz said, his 4 eyes blinking rapidly. We acknowledge your victory. I'm glad we understand each other, Jack replied. Your ships will remain where they are until Council peacekeepers arrive. We've notified them of your unprovoked attack on our colony. Draz's eyes narrowed. The Council gave us permission to secure this region. Did they give you permission to attack a human colony? Jack asked. I don't think so. We've sent them the recording of our conversation. Your threat to our people is clear. For a moment, Draz looked like he might argue. Then his shoulders dropped. What do you want, human? I want you to understand something, Jack said, leaning forward in his chair. Humans don't like to fight. We prefer peace. But if you threaten us, if you threaten our people, we will defend ourselves. And as you've just learned, we're very good at it. He stood up and walked closer to the screen. Your fleet will stay here until the Council arrives. If you try to restore your weapons or engines, we will know, and we will stop you. Do you understand? Draz nodded slowly. I understand. Good. Persistence out. The screen went dark. Jack turned to his crew. Emma, keep monitoring their communications. If they try to call for help from other Vorn ships, I want to know immediately. Yes, Captain. Lisa, take us into a standard orbit around the colony. I want them to see we're protecting them. As Lisa guided the ship into position, Jack opened a channel to the colony below. Titan's moon colony, this is Captain Anderson of the UES Persistence. The threat has been neutralized. Repeat, the Vorn fleet has been disabled. You are safe. A cheer came through the speakers, the sound of 3,000 relieved colonists. The colony leader's voice followed. Captain Anderson, we saw the whole thing from our observation dome. That was incredible. Thank you. Just doing our job, Jack replied. We'll stay in orbit until the Council peacekeepers arrive. 6 hours later, 3 large ships appeared at the edge of the system. They were not Vorn vessels, but the distinctive blue-green ships of the Council Peacekeeping Force. "Council ships are hailing us," Emma reported. On screen, Jack ordered. A tall, thin alien with pale blue skin appeared. He wore the formal robes of a council elder. "This is Elder Velix of the Galactic Council. We received your distress call and the evidence of the Vorn attack. We are surprised by what we found here." 12 disabled Vorn warships, Jack asked with a slight smile. "Indeed," Velix said, his large eyes blinking slowly. "The Vorn claimed they were attacked by a fleet of human ships using illegal weapons. Your recording shows a different story. Would you like a complete record of the battle?" Jack offered. "Lucy, our ship's AI, recorded everything." Velix's expression changed at the mention of an AI. "You have artificial intelligence on your warship." "We do," Jack said simply. "She's been a part of our space program for many years." The elder seemed troubled by this, but continued, "Yes, we would like the complete record. The council must understand exactly what happened here." Lucy transferred the battle data to the council ships. The crew watched as Velix and other aliens on his ship viewed the recordings. Their expressions changed from doubt to shock to something like respect. "Captain Anderson," Velix said finally, "it seems the Vorn have greatly underestimated human capabilities." "A common mistake," Jack replied. "We prefer not to show our true strength unless necessary." "The Council will need to reconsider many things," Velix admitted. "Our understanding of human technology was incorrect." Jack nodded. "We look forward to more honest relations with the Council in the future." After the call ended, the crew gathered in the command center. Through the main window, they could see the Council ships moving to take the disabled Vorn vessels in tow. "What happens now?" Tom asked. "Now we wait," Jack said. "The Council will review everything that happened here. They'll see that we could have destroyed the Vorn fleet, but chose not to. They'll see that we only defended ourselves when attacked. And they'll see that one human ship defeated 12 Vorn warships," Maria added with a smile. "That too," Jack agreed. "They won't underestimate us again." As the crew watched, a message came in from Earth. It was from Defense Director Wright, and it contained only 5 words. "Well done. Come home, heroes." Jack looked around at his tired but proud crew. They had trained for years without knowing their ship's true capabilities. They had been mocked and laughed at by the most powerful races in the galaxy, and in a single battle, they had changed everything. "Set course for Earth," he ordered. "It's time to go home." As the Persistence prepared to leave the Titan system, a final message came from the Council ships. It was from Elder Velix, and it was addressed not just to Jack, but to all humans. "The Council recognizes the actions of the UES Persistence in defense of its colony. We acknowledge that human technology is more advanced than previously understood. The Council formally invites Earth to send representatives to discuss a new status within our alliance. We have much to learn from each other." Jack smiled as he read the message aloud to his crew. "Looks like they're not laughing anymore."